All right, welcome to the stream, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about another inexpensive Casio, which is something I love to cover, to be totally honest. They just have so many different options available at just such affordable price points. It makes it easy to pick and choose watches. If you're trying to collect G-Shocks, they're a lot more expensive than these inexpensive Casios, but they still have so many different options and so many cool watches with this one. Now, what we're going to do here... So we're going to make sure we get some data open up here as well. Let's get our data pane open. Okay, there we go. So this one here, this is called the Casio AE-1500. Now, it actually has a much more complex name, but the name is has a bunch of letters and stuff like that, and it's primarily about the color of the watch. Now, let me see. Let's see if Casio... There we go. Casio lets me select it. Casio's playing games with me. Good games, though. Good games. So let's go ahead and get this open up here. Show you guys exactly what's inside. Just comes in one of these inexpensive boxes here that you see. Everyone's familiar with these. If you're a Casio fan, I'm sure you've probably seen your fair share of these. So let's go ahead and open this up here. There we go. So many sheets open up here, guys. Sorry, I got so many forums. I really need another monitor here. So there we go. So let's go ahead and open this up. So I'm gonna go ahead. They come in a couple different colors. I selected a color that was just a color of a watch I don't have at all. I don't have any. I don't want to give away the surprise. There we go. I don't have any watches that look like this. So we're gonna go ahead. We got the instruction manual. They also have an instruction manual available online, which for a lot of people you're gonna find easier to use. Oh, this isn't actually an instruction manual. This is the Casio limited warranty, right? So it has a limited warranty. Even with a cheap watch, I guess you get a warranty. I mean, this is what you gotta like about Casio. And there we go. That is our watch. That is the Casio AE-1500. Now, it actually does have a manual right here along this little stand, which I do like these little stands. I always keep a couple of them. So this is the little manual. Module, as you can see, 3502. That's your module number on this one. And this is going to even have pictures. It has all the instructions that you could ever possibly need. But these watches are very straightforward to use. And these you can also find all of these instructions online. So I just find that a little easier to use. You can use the find tool. You can search through it, right? You don't have to... just use this instruction manual that you get with Casio if you don't want. So taking a look at the watch, this is a very, very big, inexpensive Casio watch. I was able to get this one, believe it or not, the price on this watch that I paid, $31.99 Canadian. That's absolutely crazy. I've seen people online saying that they got it for around $20 US. So it's by far the biggest Casio I've seen at this price point. Just for a little comparison, here's a standard square G-Shock. This is the 5610. One of my favorite ones, too, to be totally honest. But you can see quite a size discrepancy. If you're the kind of person that likes the Rangeman, the Pro Tech, the Mudmaster, that sort of watch, this is going to be one that you're going to be interested in. So it's a full-size watch. So taking a look at the watch here, it's in this beautiful green color. Of course, it's an inexpensive watch. This is all just resin. It's a very light watch, though, even though it is quite large. And one thing you're going to notice is it has an incredibly long strap. If you are a larger wrist sort of person, this is going to be up your alley. So take a look at that, right? Lots of different strap holes, and honestly, a pretty nice strap. It's got lots of texturing on the back to help hold the strap in place, and you don't often see that at these inexpensive price points. Looks like I've got almost a little scratch on the back. Oh, Amazon, that's okay. So that's the back of it here. It says the model number, AE-1500 WH 3502. 3502, of course, is going to be your module number. So let's go ahead, let's set the time. So we've got 4 buttons on it. We have a mode, adjust, light, and start. Let's press the light. So you'll see 2 LEDs down at the bottom. It does have afterglow, right? So after you just have to press the button, stays on for around a second. This does have, one of the things I love about these cheap Casios, a 10-year battery. So if you're just wondering, how long's a battery good for this thing? It says it right on the watch face, right? So you don't even have to wonder. But one thing they do caution you is if you use the light all the time, you're not going to get 10 years of battery life. So, but it's an inexpensive, easy to replace battery. Has a screw-on stainless steel back, so you can just do that yourself. You don't need to take this into a watchmaker or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and do the strap up here while we do some adjustments. So it's going to work a lot like a typical Casio if you're used to Casio watches here. First thing, we're going to hold the adjust button. Okay, nice buttons on this, honestly. This does not feel like a watch that costs this much money. This feels way nicer and way higher end than the 31 Canadian dollars. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead, hold the adjust button. We're going to set the time on this. So we're going to press mode to move through the different settings. So if you want to reset your seconds here, now you see when I press the start button, you see it jumped to the next minute, right? If it's below 30 seconds, it's going to jump back to 0. And if it's above 30 seconds, it's going to jump to 0, but also it's going to push it forward to the next minute. So the time here, it's going to be, I'm going to have my other watch for reference. Now, of course, this one isn't going to set with the atomic time. We don't exactly expect it to at a cost like this. So I'm just going to be using this button here to change everything. So it's let's see, it's going to be 4:11, and the seconds are pretty much bang on the time. So that definitely makes it a little bit easier. Hold that button down again here. So 4:11, 2010. Wow, different time, I tell you that. I'm going to hold the button, make it go a little bit faster. Now it's 2024, sounds a little more accurate. Today is August the 21st. Okay, and now we are back. So there we go. So now that is set pretty darn close. I mean, that's within like a second or so. This watch has a plus or minus 30 seconds per month accuracy. So incredible accuracy you're getting from these very inexpensive watches. Now, one thing you'll notice on the face here, you get permanent what day of the week it is, the month and the date. So the day of the week, month, and the date are on the face at all times. Large time readout, extremely large time readout. If you're hard of vision whatsoever, I don't know if that's hard of hearing, hard of vision, but if you're vision impaired whatsoever, this is going to be an extremely easy one to see. Like, look at the time comparison to something smaller. And let's get something really, really small here. Grab my Casio box of goodies. What have we got here? You guys probably seen one of these before, I bet. Here we have the F91W, which you can buy currently on Amazon.ca for about the same price. So if you want to look at a size discrepancy between two watches, here you go. 51 millimeter case on this thing. 51 side to side, the width of the case. Absolutely massive on this one, but just look at the difference you're going to have in reading the time readout on one compared to the other. So very, very easy to see that. Down at the bottom, it has a seconds, so it shows you the seconds. But as you see on the side here, this is also another way to see the seconds. So it does that kind of build up, build down. It's going to build up for 10 seconds, build down for 10 seconds. It's not necessarily more useful than the other seconds, but I just think it looks cool and it gives you a different option, right? It just gives you a little more visual interest. So you see it says 5 alarms, alarm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down at the bottom. So you can see if you have them on, which ones you have on at all the times. So let's go ahead and click through the modes here. Let's see exactly what we got on this watch. I'll move it a little closer for you here. So here's our alarm. So now your alarm number 1, so I'm scrolling through, you get 5 different alarms here. So that's crazy. This here, what I'm doing is I'm turning on the hourly chime. So you see that in the bottom right, that's indicating the hourly chime is turned on. And now when I want to, let's go back to that here. So we're going to go to alarm 1. Now this has 4 different ways you can set alarm. I got myself a little espresso here. Let's make sure we stay hydrated. Stay dehydrated, as they like to say. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to adjust this alarm here because I want to show you exactly how you can adjust this thing. So I'm going to hold that down to adjust it. You see alarm 1 just came on the bottom as we're adjusting this. So I'm an early riser. We're going to go ahead and we're going to, there we go. We're going to set this to my normal time, 4 a.m. Let's do 4:30. Sometimes let's do 4:05. Sometimes I get up a little bit later, but I'm an early riser either way. So we got those set up here. So right now, this alarm is going to go off at 4:05 a.m. every day. That's how this is set up right now. But this gives you options. So if I want, I can go here and I can adjust this. That's the month. And I can adjust this, right? So as this stands right now, this alarm is going to go off at 4:05 a.m. on January 16th. Okay, so very, very granular. You can have it go off at 4:05 a.m. You can have it go off at 4:05 a.m. on a specific date. But you can also, there's 4 total modes. So if you want, you can get rid of the month. So you can have it on so now this is going to go off on the 16th of the month. Every month on the 16th, it's going to go off at 4:05. And alternatively, we can go like this here. And we can set this, so say this is going to be on the 1st, and then if we set this so it doesn't have any date on it, so now this is going to go off at 4:05 a.m. all throughout the month of January. So 4 different ways you can set each alarm, and then there's 5 alarms. Alarm number 1 is also a snooze alarm. So if you're the kind of person that has a difficult time getting up, you want to use the snooze alarm, that's going to be alarm number 1. So crazy alarm function on this thing. You would not expect to get alarm function quite like that. Hey, Sneaky's Beauty by Susanna. Good to see you here. Sorry, I didn't see the chat. Anyone has any questions, please ask away. I want to do my best to go over anything anyone has on this one. So incredibly impressive array of features that you're getting on this thing for that $30 Canadian price point. One other thing that you get, if you look up the top, try to show you there. So water resistance, 100 meters. So this is a proper water resistance kind of watch. You don't need to worry about going in the shower, jumping in the lake, or whatever it is. This is going to be good for 100 meters of water resistance. So that's incredibly good for that. So now, next we're going to go to our timer. So let's go ahead and set the timer. This has up to a 24-hour timer. And it also has a great feature I know people are going to be big fans of because I'm a big fan myself. Let's go ahead and set this timer though. So see, I want to show you exactly what it can do. So you can just hold the button. It's going to go faster then. So you can go up to 23 hours. It's going to go back to 0. So let's say we want to do an hour and 15 minutes, okay? So we're going to go mode. There we go. And we're going to get this up to 15 minutes. Okay, we're going to press adjust to lock it in here. And then we start our timer by pressing the start button. So now that's going to be, and that's going to run in the background, right? So keep in mind, here we are, that's our regular watch face. Our timer is still running in the background. You don't have to have the timer open in order to have it running. So you see that's been running in the background the whole time. So if you want to stop your timer for whatever reason, you just go ahead and stop it, restart it. Now, this also has one other function on it though in the timer, which makes it so useful. When I hold down this button, hold down the adjust button. This is the first time using the watch here, so you'll have to forgive me. I believe you go like this. There we go. So you see down under the 5 alarms, when I'm pressing that LED light, you're seeing A.RPT. That's auto repeat. So when this is set up here now, so I reset the timer. So when I set this off now, this is going to go for an hour and 15 minutes. But once it gets to an hour and 15 minutes, you're going to have the timer go off. Of course, you're going to have that audible beep. But then it's going to go ahead and restart the timer. So it means if this is running this auto repeat function, it's going to continuously run a timer for an hour and 15 minutes. People like this kind of function because if you're doing any kind of interval training at the gym, if you're doing 5 minutes or something like that, hey, Robert Lapointe, what is the size of this watch? I'll give you the exact size on the Casio website here. Very large here. So the length is 54.4 milliliters. The width is 51.3, and then it's 15.8 millimeters thick. So it's quite a thick boy, this one here. This is a big, thick son of a gun on this watch here. So when this is, people like to do this for interval training at the gym. Sometimes people set it for 1 minute or 2 minutes. Maybe you do 2 minutes on a machine, you break for 2 minutes, then you do 2 minutes of weight, you break for 2 minutes. So if you have it set to 2 minutes, then it's just going to keep doing a 2-minute timer. You don't have to worry about turning it off and on or anything like that. It's going to do it for you automatically. The auto repeat timer, this is a function you don't even see on a lot of G-Shock watches. Like, don't get me wrong, it's out there, you see it, but like this watch, for example, which is my favorite Casio watch I own, this doesn't have an auto repeat timer. You know what I mean? Which is just kind of crazy to me. I have this function on numerous less expensive Casios, but then when you get to their higher end, their G-Shock lineup, you don't find too many of these auto repeating timers at all. So on these inexpensive ones, sometimes you get just an embarrassment of riches in terms of the actual feature set that you see on these watches. So going to our next setting here, we have a stopwatch. Now this has 4 functions of the stopwatch, standard kind of a stopwatch. Of course, I love that the buttons are just big and they're labeled. So that's start and stop. So you see, I do like the graphic on the side, like that seconds graphic on the side of the face. I just think it really adds something to the face, makes it look higher end than the watch really is. So there we go. Stop it, reset it. It also has split time, first and second place finisher. Those are all functions that you need to, like, they're not necessarily hard to use, but like, there you go. That's the split time there. And then if we press that again, then it resumes to the other time. We can reset it here. Now you can do the first and second place. So if you go, when the first place is done, that's a first place finisher. Second place is done. That's the second place finisher. And then that's how you can see in between them. So, this is one of those features where you kind of want to spend a little time if you plan on doing some serious stopwatching. I really don't know how often people are using the stopwatch on this other than just the basic function. So for me, that's the only one I'm ever using. And sometimes I do like to use it just for fun. You know what I mean? I don't typically use it for anything that's too important, but I do like to, how long take me in the grocery store or whatever the case is, right? Stopwatches are great for that. And again, this can keep running in the background. So there we go. So this is running. You don't have to have the stopwatch open to see it. Now, on some of the higher end watches, or even this other watch I have here, I'll show you. I got a lot of Casio watches. This watch here, if you're looking for the very, very, very best timer I've ever seen on a Casio watch, it's on this one here. This is the WS-1600H. So this one here has a feature. There's a number of features that make this timer great. But one of the features that makes this timer really, really good is that while you have the timer on here, you can see the time. So 4:22 is the current time, and then you can see the timer. You typically do not, this is the only inexpensive Casio I've ever seen that has this feature. There may be others. I don't have every one, but this is the only one I've ever seen that has that. And that is like a G-Shock kind of a feature. That's something you typically only see on G-Shocks. So if you're looking for a watch that lets you see the timer and the time at the same time, this is the one you want here, WS-1600H. It's tough to see there. You got to take my word for it. But yeah, this is a great Casio as well if you're looking for something a little bit different. So that's going to be your stopwatch on this one. Now here you have a dual time. So right now in our regular time, it's 4:23. I always find this kind of funny. Like 4:23. So you see the seconds are 39. Now we go to our dual time. So it says 5:13. The seconds stay the same because the seconds stay the same no matter where you are in the world. But you don't, hey, Brady Bloomer, good to see you, man. Yeah, that is a great feature. Super, super, super handy feature. One that I actually use all the time because when I have my timer on, when I'm wearing this watch, for example, when I have my timer on, I typically keep it on this screen here. Then you can see 4:24 is our time in the little box, but then you can see both. You can see the time and the timer, which is better. Of course, you want to see the time and the timer at the same time. There's no benefit to not, but I always find it weird in the dual time that it gives you the option. It marries the seconds to the same thing, but not the minutes. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know any scenarios in the world where times are different more than an hour. You know what I mean? Like I'm in British Columbia in Alberta, it's an hour ahead. I don't know any places that are like an hour and 3 minutes ahead. I have heard, maybe somebody knows, but I have heard that there's a place that has a 30-minute time difference. You know, I haven't seen that myself, but I've heard of that, and maybe that's why they have the function on here. But either way, this is a dual time zone watch. So if you want to monitor the time zone in another city, for example, say it's 6, go to 24, because it's going to be the same minute. So now we see, oh, let's go to 25 then. Let's go to 25, so it's the same. So 6:25. So there we go. So now 4:25, and then if I want to quickly check my other time zone, dual time, 6:25. So essentially 2 different time zones. If you're traveling, or if you just do business with someone else, or if you're just kind of nosy and curious kind of thing, you can have 2 different time zones going at the same time on this one. So let's go ahead and put it on my wrist. First, I want to show you, for argument's sake here. So this is the F91W. This is the gateway drug, so to speak. This is the one that got me started on my Casio journey. And if you're interested in Casio watches, this is like a must-have. This is the one to get first. It's even cheaper than this one, but not much. We're not talking much at all. But it is a incredibly light, incredibly easy to wear watch. And I want to show you what it looks like on my wrist. My wrists are about 6.75 inches, I believe, is my wrist measurement. I'd have to go and do it again. But there you go. So that's what it looks like on your wrist. Incredibly small, super, super retro vibes. But you can wear this thing all day long. You're not going to notice it for 1 second. The backlight on it is hilarious. You probably can't even see it at all. There you go. You can see the LED. And the LED does a better job at illuminating itself than it does the display. Robert Lapointe, how many alarms the F91W? This F91W has 1 alarm. I'll show you that there. So that's it. Just it has an alarm or it doesn't, right? Up to you. That's the hourly beep. That's the alarm. I'll show you a little closer there. So you're seeing as I'm pressing this button. So now this thing isn't going to make any sounds. Now it's going to have the alarm turned on. Now it's going to have only the hourly time turned on, hourly chime rather, and now it has both the hourly chime and the alarm turned on. So that's why I set it on this one, just 1 alarm. And then on this one, there's so many names, numbers going around in my head. They don't do a great job at, giving you a memorable name. It's all just like model numbers. So again, the AE-1500. So in this one here, you get 5 alarms. One of them is a snooze alarm. No snooze alarms here. But then keep in mind, you have your granular settings on this one. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to set this one so it's going to be daily. This is going to go off every day at 4:05 a.m. So there we go. So that's alarm 1 at 4:05 a.m. Now let's say we want to go to alarm, let's go to alarm 3, for example. And we're going to set alarm 3. So I want this to go off. Let's just pick a completely random time and a random date. Let's do 4:20 on April 20th. Totally random. Totally random. And so now what we're doing is we're just setting an alarm that's going to go off at a very, very specific time. This is going to go off only on April 20th at 4:20 p.m. So I just love that setting to have. It's like, just let you remember something special, a birth date or whatever it is. But keep in mind, again, I can have this set every day like this for the month of April or every month on the 20th. So a ton of different functions. And then as you see, when we go back to the home screen, you can very easily tell what alarms you have on, right? And then you can see also the hourly chime setup on this thing. So you saw the F91W on my wrist. Let's go ahead and see this big bugger. I do like this green color. And this strap, I want to show you another Casio. Like, this one's not a bad strap here. This watch I already showed you, the WS-1600H. Not a bad strap. Now I want to show you a bad strap though. I don't like this strap. This watch here is the loudest Casio I own. This is the W217H. And this one has a very long strap, but it's just so smooth. You see that? You see the back? See how it's all smooth? So I find it doesn't hold in place as good, whereas this one has these ridges and bumps and different things that are going to help to secure it a little more similar to what you're seeing on a G-Shock strap. Like there's my G-Shock strap, right? Then you see the strap on this thing here, and it looks very, very similar. So if you are looking, if this is something you actually use to wake yourself up, you want to check out this one here. This one is, I've put them side by side. This is essentially a large F91W. I hate saying on steroids, but this is like an F91W on steroids. Exact same functions. It works the exact same way. Infinitely better backlight. Bigger volume, larger text and all that kind of thing, but also it's very loud. So this one here is the loud one. So let's put this one on here. This says made for very big wrists. Hopefully it'll work for normal size wrists as well, but let's see how much extra. See, I'm on, that's probably a little tight, but I'm on like the 3rd or the 4th strap hole here. So, I mean, for somebody who doesn't have huge wrists, it is quite a big strap. Let's go to the 3rd here. I like my watches a little bit tight, and I like to wear them up high. I've heard them called hand watches. You know, your wrist bone, that's your wrist bone, right? I've heard, you know, people on Reddit, take it or leave it. They say if you wear your watch here, that's the proper way. It's a wrist watch. And they say if you wear it up here above your wrist bone, then they call it a hand watch, right? I like a hand watch myself. I only like wearing them up high. I can't stand wearing watches. I feel like it's halfway down my arm here. So I like wearing them up high myself. So on my wrist, I mean, like I say, I'm like 6.5, 6.75 inch wrist. I think it looks fine. Like it's a big watch. It reminds me of my Range Man. But if your watch is or if your wrist rather is much smaller than this, you are not going to have much extra room for the strap. So if you have quite thin wrists, this might simply be too big for you. I mean, I got to say it wears pretty nice. This strap is quite comfortable. We'll see how it stays in there long term over the day. You know what I mean? Is it sticking up? Is it getting caught on stuff? We'll see. It's definitely a big one. But I mean, that couldn't be much easier to read the time at a glance kind of thing. I haven't used this in the dark yet, just because, like I say, I just got it today. This is like an unboxing video. But from all reports, they say the backlight is great. I mean, you can see it there in the dark. That's going to do a great job illuminating it. But it wears quite nice on your wrist. It's very, very light. If you do like to wear it up high like this, like I find if I'm ever at the gym, if I'm doing push-ups or something like that, then you do have to push your watch up, because when your wrist is bending like this, your wrist just doesn't want to bend the same when you have it up here, right? But very, very comfortable watch. Pretty sharp too, honestly. I think it looks nice on the wrist. Let's do a little compare and contrast action. I'm also a right-handed watch wearer. I like to wear it right, and I like to wear it up high. So I go into, like, you know, watch boutiques, and they just kind of look, oh God, please leave, you know, but I don't. I just buy something, and then they shut up. So there we go. So those are two. There you go. Beauty and the Beast. The diminutive F91W compared to the beastly AE-1500. So these are, like, in terms of inexpensive Casio watches, these are by far the biggest and smallest in my collection, and not even really close. Well, there's watches that are around the same size as this one, but this one here is very, very, very large. So there we go. That is the Casio AE-1500, available in a few different colors. This is the green color here. You know, great watch for people who like that sort of operator look, that kind of semi-camouflage type thing. This is going to be a great watch, fitting your style there. If you don't like the green, this also does come in a black color, comes in a tan color. They even have an option with a negative display. And honestly, if you're getting a negative display, this is probably the watch to get, just because negative displays are infinitely harder to read than these positive displays. So that's why I like these ones myself. But it's the only green one in my collection, and I think it's a pretty good option. Also gives, of course, the option to do military time if you like the 24-hour clock, just by pressing the start button on the main watch face. Now you're at 1633 soldier, if that's your preference. So there we go. That is the Casio AE-1500H. I'm going to have a full long-form review on this after I spend some more time with it, but I wanted to show you guys a quick look at it, show you the unboxing, so I hope you enjoyed checking that out. Thank you so much for joining me for this stream. I really appreciate it, and we will see you next time.